Hey everyone, today at Automotive Passion we have our brand new carbon fiber front elements with the front canards for the RS3 8Y Gen 2. Many of you also know it as the 8.5. So with the kit, we've got our two lower canards, our top canards, and our templates for each canard, which we are going to be using for the small hole locations on the bumper. The templates have the hole locations for all of the holes on the canards, but we only recommend using the top on the lower and on the bottom as well, as this adds more than enough support along with them being bolted directly onto the elements themselves. With the kit, we've also got the small screws, which we will be using in the back of the threads on the canards to connect them to the elements on the vehicle. So that's a basic little description of what we've got in front of us and what is included with the kit. Next, we're going to head over to the car, share with you what is involved in taking off the bumper and get them fitted up the right way. Now that we have the bumper off the vehicle, we are going to go ahead and remove the original front elements. On this vehicle today, it has the carbon edition. If it's a carbon edition or the normal black pack, makes absolutely no difference. We also offer the carbon edition front trims, which do not have the integrated canards and hole locations for the canards, which we have on our website as well as a second option. Right, so let's get into it. We are going to head over and we are going to remove the original trims. So gently, we are going to flip the bumper over. Okay, and once you have the bumper over, you'll see that there are a whole bunch of tabs on the back side holding the elements in place. On the back of it as well, on this washer hose and a few of the lines, they are also secured onto the back of the trims, so you need to pull these away. Using a flathead screwdriver and a trim tool, you are going to pry up these holes. It does take a bit of time. They are very tight on new vehicles, so don't get frustrated if it does take you a little bit of time. Patience is key. Once you get closer to that, and we have already spent some time and worked on these clips, you're then going to work on the back side, pushing forward and pulling from the front side until the elements push through the bumper like so, and that is the elements removed from the vehicle. What we are going to do now is flip the bumper back over, and we are going to use some masking tape, which is our best friend at the end of the day, to line up on the bumper so that we can then go ahead and line up our front canards. We are now going to run you through the steps of using the front templates and inserting the front trims onto the bumper to line up and make the hole incisions. So we're going to start off with the small canard, which goes on the bottom. So we're going to flip it up and over. With the small canard, we are going to line up the small thread hole locations on the back of the 3D printed templates, and then using the supplied screws and washer, we're going to slip it into the back of the thread hole location. We're going to just tighten that up by hand, and we're going to do the same for the one at the back. We're going to follow the same procedure for the top one. So we are then going to take the top canard and we are going to replicate the same procedure so that they sit as per the carbon editions in that format and are perfectly spaced. What we've done now is we've gone ahead and screwed the screws into the back hole locations and into the threads just loosely. You'll see that there is a little bit of adjustability and movement on the canards. We recommend having them in the center location. You'll feel when they are in the center, you want to ensure that the bottom canard and the top canard follow the same direction and are evenly spaced. So on the top, you almost want to angle it to the top, and on the bottom, it's going to sit pretty much in the middle. Once you are happy with that positioning, you're going to go over to the back side and just tighten them up loosely. These are just the test sets. We do not need to tighten them up tight whatsoever. Just one little hand twist will do the job. Ensuring that you keep the angle perfectly on the back. This is important for our aerodynamics. Let's go ahead now and get them fitted up on the bumper for the next step. Now that we've got the bumper in front of us and we have the 3D printed templates on the elements, we are going to pop them in the position that they are going to go on to the bumper. We are not going to push them into place. We are simply doing this so that we can put some masking tape behind the canards so that we know where they need to be. Let's pop another piece. Don't be scared to use some extra masking tape here on the top and the bottom. And we're going to add one more piece just above. That's perfect. Alrighty, there you go. That's a prime example of what we need to do. In our next steps, we are now going to press the front elements into place. This is the test fitment time. We are going to push the elements into the bumper. They will engage all of the clips on the backside, and you will now see that the 3D printed elements are sitting against the bumper and against the masking tape that we have put on the bumper. So what we can do now is, if you actually move to the back of the bumper, we're going to move around and we're going to show you from behind what we see on the back side. You'll see that all the clips are engaged, and you'll see that 2 of the hole locations for the elements are still visible. So these can be loosened and tightened for adjustability on the angle of the canards once they have been pressed into the hole locations. For point of reference on the canard, after you've done the first one, it needs to sit just above the park distance control holder, which is around 2 to 3 millimeters. So once you do your one side, ensure that you get the other side of the bumper, the top canard, in the exact same location so that you can mimic the one side that you have already done. Now the fun begins. We are going to go ahead with a 2 millimeter drill bit head to start. Always start smaller and we can work our way up. So we're going to start with an M2, and we are now going to hold the top of the template, the 3D printed canard, securely, and on a straight angle we are going to drill a very small hole into the bumper as shown. Alright, that is the top one done. We are now going to move on to the lower canard. And that is the lower and the top canard completed with these tiny M2. We are now going to go ahead with our small screws and test out the size, and if we need to enlarge them ever so slightly, we will do so. We're going to show you the next steps of now removing the front trims again. They are going to come off the vehicle along with the 3D printed, and we are going to do the same procedure as we have just done with the 3D printed, but we are going to add the carbon canards now onto the front elements. We have now removed the front carbon element and the canards from the bumper. You will see that it has left 2 very small hole locations. We are now going to move up a drill bit size to the required 3 millimeters, which Dev is going to explain to you as well in sizing, and go ahead and add those 2 larger holes.
Continuing our installation, we did begin with a 5/64 drill bit. We do need to move a few sizes up for the screws to clear the bumper, so we are instead going to use a 1/8 size drill bit, which is around 3 millimeters. Here we have the 1/8. We're going to get started in increasing the size of our hole.
That's it. And that is it. We can now go ahead and follow the next steps of adding the carbon canards to the front carbon elements, and we can use the supplied small screws, and we are going to demonstrate what is required for the next step. We are now going to go ahead and remove the masking tape after we have added our 2 small hole locations. Okay, now we're going to head over and we're going to show you the next steps on the carbon elements. Before you go ahead and remove the 3D printed canard, ensure to use some masking tape so you can mask up the exact position so that when you add back the carbon canards onto the insert, you can ensure that you get them in the same position. So we're going to go ahead now and install the carbon canards. You'll see that we have some thin 3M acrylic tape on the back. This is just a gasket and for paint protection reasons so that it is not the carbon direct onto the painted bumper. Next step, we are going to then get them into position on the car. We can fully tighten up the front screw hole locations. The back locations, we are going to have them loose so that you have a bit of adjustability and you are able to access the 2 screw locations on the rear and tighten them up fully once the thread hole locations have been secured through the bumper side. We have now got the canards mounted onto the back of the elements. We have gone ahead and tightened up the front 2 screw locations. Do not over tighten them, it is just finger tight. We have also gone ahead and just peeled away our 3M tape. We removed the top part fully, but we have pulled these to the side so that when we insert the canards onto the bumper and have them in position and screwed in, we can then peel away the remaining 3M strip. So let's get them in place, and once they're in place, we can then line them up with the hole locations on the bumper and then tighten up these 2 existing hole locations from the back of the bumper. You want to ensure that you have a helping hand pushing the canard towards the bumper, as you do not want to be twisting and pulling the thread out of the canard. So once that has been done and you've tightened those up securely, we can now go ahead and tighten up the screws on the second hole locations on the canards themselves. Note that I'm just hand tightening these, as you can see. Once that has been done, we're going to move around to the front side of the bumper. Those are the canards and inserts all fitted up on the bumper. One small tip, once you have the thread going on the backside, remember to just pull away your thin 3M tape, as that will be a little difficult once you have them secure against the bumper. So as you can see, OEM fitment, there is 0 gaps. Looks like it has come from the factory the only way that it should ever be, along with the bottom. So we're going to walk you through them, walk around the canards, and in the next video we are going to show you exactly what they look like fitted up on the vehicle.